G'day everyone, welcome back to the Absolutely Unnecessary podcast. I'm here with myself and newly crowned Demolition amateur welterweight champion Diellon Lihari, who won his belt off Jacob LePage, who had already defended it, or maybe he was a 2-division champ. So pretty impressive win there. And Sam Marles, who is coming fresh off his pro debut win, which was, you know, a really good back and forth fight. He took a bit of damage and ended up coming back and getting the finish. So well done. And as you can see, the boys are 1 week post fight, and I'm sure any fighters watching will relate to the 40 to 60 nuggets we've got in front of us, 2 quarter pounders and some chocolatey, milky drinks.
That's about meal 4 of the day.
Yeah.
We're about 2:30 p.m.
And you're missing 2 packs of nuggets.
And
it was 80.
It was 80 nuggets.
It was 80 nuggets.
Fuck me. And you boys, I bet you're already thinking about dinner.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're thinking about like, right, what are we doing for dinner? Are we going out for drinks?
Thinking about middleweight.
Mm-hmm.
Dinner's not even the next meal. There'll be at
be
least
like
3 or
pre-dinner.
4 snacks on the way there, and then dinner will be a feast.
Are you at that point where the food, like, you can only enjoy food that's like real bad for you? Like I've got to the point where I've eaten so much before that like even something that would normally appetize me just doesn't appetize me at all. Like it has to be such shitty rich food, otherwise I won't even like it.
For me, it's at this point, anything goes.
Yeah.
Like I sushi, cookie with my sushi.
But like you would never eat like a bowl of oats now.
No,
Funny you say that. So 2 days ago, I had a look at the bank account, and I'm like, all right, fuck.
I'm spending
a lot on food amongst
still
going
an
out.
amateur. I haven't actually made any money from this fight.
Never made money from a fight before. So I meal prepped a bunch of oats, some rice.
Yeah.
Flavor some as well. Like things that
you
you in camp. In camp, you're like, I just wish I could have a little bit more honey in this.
Yeah,
a little
you
bit
want
more.
sauce or honey or whatever. Yeah,
so made them unreal. And that was on Wednesday, I think. Where Friday, I haven't touched a thing.
Yeah, 100%. I always do it where I think like, I'll just have like a couple of these like shitty meals, and then I'll just have not fight camp meals. I'll actually put sauce on stuff, but I'll make it at home and it'll be nice. But you end up so like your palate is so fucking desensitized from eating all this rich food that the thought of eating anything else is like, nah, that's too plain.
And you have the meal and you're like, well, that doesn't really count. Like you have your mince and rice that's got sauce on it, and you're like, now I want another meal.
Yeah,
so you're going to buy something anyway.
Yeah, where's my donuts?
Yeah, so you're just
I
doubling
need my
up.
donuts or some
no
shit.
matter what.
What do you think your daily cost is right now on food alone?
Taking out the weekend. I reckon yesterday I spent about 200 on food.
200.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
What is that? That's what, at $50 a meal, that's 4 meals.
I'll give you the rundown. What was yesterday, Thursday? Well, we had fight night weigh-ins because we'd got our fight night tonight, a tribute. So a few meals about that.
Yeah.
Probably spent 60 on dinner, on some pasta, some bit of this, bit of that.
The garlic bread, couple of drinks.
We went and got brekkie.
Yeah.
What'd you have for brekkie?
Glassworks.
Proud Mary.
You know, yesterday.
No, sorry, yeah, we've doubled up.
We were trying to be financially smart yesterday, so we went to Glassworks to.
But you probably
less
got
costly.
like a shake breakfast.
Yeah, we got the works.
Yeah,
it's like when you're in Thailand, you think the food's cheap, but then you order 4 meals.
Yeah, and you're like, shit, it's not cheap at all.
A couple toasties. I got some Maccas yesterday.
And also, I'm dragging people out to eat with me who don't want to eat. So then I feel obliged to pay for them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Facts. So it just adds on.
Josh is sitting behind the desk like, well, take me out for it. Like, I'll come for a meal, mate.
Yeah, no, it's been, we got till Sunday.
Yeah.
Sunday,
I always tell myself that, and then it lasts until about Sunday a month later.
Yeah. Well, the reality is like the first week would be the easiest week to not go hard. Yeah. Because your stomach is still shrunk.
Feel fucked.
So you force it. But by the time I get to Sunday, my stomach will be stretched, and then it'll just be normal.
Yeah. Be good to go. So outside of what you've been eating, how have you been feeling since the wins?
Yeah, pretty good. Obviously, as we've all sort of experienced, you probably get a bit too much, especially on your phone. You're constantly on it after a win, which you can take a little bit too far.
Yeah.
And people are messaging you and you're caught in that kind of cycle of checking your phone 24/7 because things are coming through. Yeah. So trying to step away a little bit from that. Because post-fight, I think you all get you're on such a high, you then experience that little low afterwards, and you kind of slump a little bit.
Yeah.
But
Like they talk about it a lot, like post-fight depression. The first time I heard someone talk about it was Eddie Alvarez. And I'd obviously had it before he spoke about that or felt like that, but I hadn't heard him put it into context where he's like, you get depressed. Sometimes you get depressed after fights, even if you win, just because it's such a high and such an emotional roller coaster of going through a fight camp. And then it all kind of just fades away very quickly. Me, myself, I've had 15 fights, and in those fights, I've probably had like 3 or 4 where it's like really bad, where I'm not actually, like I'm not sad, that's the thing, I'm not sad, not depressed in that way, but I just have like no motivation to do anything, like little chores, like daily life maintenance stuff that you should do, like doing your washing, doing the dishes, that sort of shit. I just lie on the couch and it's not like I'm physically tired. I just fucking can't motivate myself to do anything.
It's the worst. Yeah. Because you're looking forward to that week so much. Like, okay, finally, don't have to train, don't have all these things that I need to do. I can eat. And then you can't enjoy the week. You're like, what's wrong with me? I feel like I should be having the best time of my life right now. But
100%. But I find it just like there's no rhyme or reason to why and when. Like I've had, after my fight in Perth, for example, which was the biggest fight of my career, easily the most like proud and happiest I've been in my whole career. And after that, I didn't really get a post-fight depression or post-fight come down at all. Like it was pretty much back to normal. I was pretty normal about it all. But after the Contender Series fight, which was the fight before that, it was like probably I would say 2 weeks. And after the 2 weeks, my girlfriend said to me, hey, you got to sort this out. Because she was saying like she would come home she'd be at work all day and she'd come home and the dishes and shit. I'm at home. I'm not training. I'm not doing anything. And the dishes and shit would all be sitting there and she'd be like, hang on, I've been at work all day. Fucking do this. And I'm like, I'm not trying to be rude, but I fucking can't. Like I just can't get myself out of bed to do it.
Do you think after Perth, was there a conscious effort to make something different, or was it just sort of how it went?
I think a couple of things I did really helped it. One thing was that I flew home on Monday, and on Tuesday we were all back at the gym helping Khan get ready for his fight.
Yep.
And then I still trained. So I even told myself, even if I'm not training, go to the gym and just sit there and watch.
Yep.
Just so you stay involved and that sort of thing. And that kind of helped, I think.
I think getting back into the gym or just sweating.
Yeah,
I think you got to like, especially we're so used to training all the time and you get a bunch of endorphins from that. You get a bunch of good chemicals from that. And then you're like, all right, I want to take a passion week after my fight, right? Take a week off, but you don't do any training.
Yeah.
That's all you know. So you tell yourself you need a bit of time off, let the mind rest, let the body rest, but then you're not training at all. You're eating shitter than you ever do. Yeah. And you just end up in this state where it's like...
It's the eating shit and the eating shit couples it because you don't want to do anything because you feel shit from eating so much.
Yeah.
It's like a cycle.
It's fucked.
Anyway, we should probably just be a bit healthier on the way out and we might be all right, hey?
Yeah, there probably is a good way to go about it. But I do try to make a real conscious effort to not train.
Yeah,
because it's
you have to. I struggle a lot with almost like a shame or a guilt from not training. Where like if I have Monday to Wednesday off, by Thursday I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? Like you're supposed to be an athlete, you can't take this much time off. And your body's like, I'm still like, I remember after one of my fights, my hands were so busted, like just for context, like I couldn't hold a golf club and swing it because my hands were so busted from the fight. But I'm telling myself like, fuck, I should be at training. It's like, well, that's just not how it works in this sport. It's such a high pressure sport and high intensity, especially at that end, that you just have to take time.
Yeah, 100%. It's also you're thinking like, I know with myself especially, it's always, fuck, I missed like 4 days now, but I know this person went into like on this day and this person's going on this day, but I'm not going, and they fought in the same week.
Like a FOMO.
Yeah, it's like, fuck, I'm not training. It's like, you guys had that photo yesterday. So you're all here training yesterday morning and I'm like, Like, fuck, I'm not in the gym training. It's
I'm
like,
a dog.
yeah, I'm a
A
motherfucker.
bit dirty.
I called him. I'm like,
He's like, what happened to this?
he's like,
Agreement of not
Hey,
training.
why were you all at the gym?
we made a pact, Sammy, that we're not training
And
this
Sammy
week.
was like,
And
no,
go on
I didn't
Instagram.
train. I just went in to help Jack.
Yeah.
Like, I was just holding pads.
Motherfucker.
I didn't lie to you.
Oh, shit.
Oh, but yeah, so what about you, Sammy? How'd you feel after the win? Pro debut's a bit different, isn't it?
Yeah, I felt this time it's funny you say that because I haven't really had the post-fight depression this time. I think mainly because I feel it's pretty satisfying to do it as a pro. I know it probably wasn't my hardest fight, but definitely the most pressure, the most nervous I had been before a fight just because of the stage. Everyone coming to watch. I mean, I had all of my fights have pretty much been away. So this was the first time where I really made an effort to sell tickets. Had a lot of my friends there.
And that completely changes the dynamic of a fight.
It does, and you wish it didn't, but it does. It's hard to not think about that.
Yeah.
So I feel after this one, I felt a little bit more like a sense of relief because I knew there was a lot of expectation. I knew I was supposed to go in there and I knew I was supposed to put on a show, really.
Yeah, 100%.
So the expectation was weighing on me, but as I got to the fight, beforehand, I felt that calmness, and I was like, okay, beautiful. The work that I've been doing, the work I've been doing mentally, is actually working. And you never know whether it's going to work until the night comes.
Yeah.
And I think a part of the stress or the nerves was actually, is this mental work that I've been doing, is it going to actually show up on the night?
Yeah.
And then it did. So I have a sense of relief from getting that one done. I have a sense of relief from the fact that the mental work I've been doing is actually working. And then it always feels like you level up through camp, but I don't want to count the level up until the fight's done. It feels like the fight solidifies the improvement, if that makes sense.
No, 100%. You have to get the result. You can do all the work on the mat, and if it doesn't come out in the cage, it's
like it counts for nothing. Yeah, exactly.
Well, not worthless, especially in terms of if you've improved, but if it doesn't show on paper, then what's the point of it all?
Yeah.
Like I know a lot of guys that were really, really good in the gym and they just struggled to convert it to the cage. And for them, they don't have much to show for it still. It's funny you say how it was more of a relief. I reckon half of my wins, it's a cross between half of them I was really happy and like joy was the emotion after the fight, and the other half it's just relief.
Yeah.
Just like you don't even necessarily feel like I'm really happy. You just feel like, fuck, I got through that and I did my job. Like,
Fuck, I didn't lose.
Yeah, like it's over.
Yeah.
It's a relief. And then you're like, I want to go again. Like I want to do it again.
Yeah, it doesn't take long until you start to get that itch again. But when you're on that last week, you're like, man, I'm taking 2 weeks off.
Yeah.
I'm going on holiday. Fuck this
Well,
shit. You know, like
I'm pretty close to a fight right now, and I'm in that mode where the training where you almost have a bit of anxiety for every training session because you know every training session is going to be really hard.
Yeah.
And it's at this point where you start thinking like, I just can't wait to just have like a weekend and do what I want. Or like, I can't wait till I don't have to run every week, like all that sort of shit. And then as soon as it's finished, you're like, oh fuck, I could do that again.
I want to get back.
I want to go again.
Yeah.
what is your because from an outside, when I see you go through a lot of these tough sessions, you seem to really take it in your stride. And it seems like once the session starts, like even for example, yesterday when we started the Shark Tank, the bell goes. I actually didn't even realize at the time it started, and you were at me like, let's go. Like you had clearly got yourself into a mental state where you were ready to tackle the session. And I just wonder, what is the self-talk that you go through beforehand?
I have like a really simple rule, and I do it like with every session I have. You know, when you walk in the gym and you like usually one of your teammates or your coach or someone will be like, how you feeling? Especially as you get closer to fights. Like your coaches are always trying to check in on like, how you feeling, how are you going and stuff. I have a real simple rule. It doesn't matter how shit you feel. Never ever complain before, in or during the session. But as soon as you're done, like as soon as they say, all right, gloves off, you're done, you can complain as much as you want. Yeah. Right? You can say, I was really sore today. I was struggling here or there. But you're already through the session, so there's no excuse then. And what I've found since I started doing that, because that wasn't always. I used to go into the gym And my coach Andy would be like, "How you feeling today?" And I'd be like, "I'm actually like," and I'm always working hard, but I'd be like, "I'm fucking tired today, coach. I'm feeling it." And then it'd be like you'd still go and get smashed, and you'd still feel shit, and it would still. So what? It didn't serve any purpose. So I just changed my mentality to like every time you walk in, if you get asked how you feeling, it's yep, good, ready to go, and then fucking that answering that will make you push through your session a little bit better. And then by the time you get to the end, you don't feel like complaining because you did the work anyway. You're like, I fucking showed up and I did it, so I can't have been that bad.
So it's like you're almost manifesting that as well. Like
yeah, exactly.
You're making yourself believe it.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, if I'm ever so sore, and I have done this before where I'm so gassed from training that I'm not going to do the session, I'll just ring coach and say, I can't do the session because of X, Y, or Z. Like I'm too sore. I've got this is niggling at me. I need a day. Can I just come in and go light today? And all the time the answer will be yes. Like, because I don't have my coaches don't really get themselves concerned with me doing the work or not because they know I do it. But if I'm going to go in and do the work, fucking don't complain about it because no one cares. Like just wait. Yeah. And just that one act of being like, let yourself complain if you want, but do it after you finish. You just don't ever complain because when you finish, what's there to complain about? It's like I already fucking did the work.
Yeah.
And that was like yesterday because I did a Shark Tank, which was pads, then 6-minute rounds on Wednesday, and then we did another Shark Tank on Thursday, which was 5-minute rounds, and that was the one you were there for. I was sore. I was like, not like I could have gone in and said, fuck, this is going to be hard. I'm going to suck. But you say it with a smile, you're like, yeah, this is going to be hard. Fuck it, I'll go. And as soon as the bell goes, just fucking go. Yep. And then you don't look back. Because once you're going, and it's so much easier too. We've got such a good team. You have like, you walk in and go, you Shark Tanking today, go home, put your kit on, come back to hold pads. Joey finishes his session an hour early to make sure that he runs my session properly. And then we do that for each other. So it's so easy. I'm not going to go and half-ass a session where I've got 6 other guys standing in the ring, giving up their time to help me. There's just no way that I'm going to go, I'm going to go at 70%. I'm not going to give it 100. So it's just easy to switch on when you flex that muscle enough, I suppose.
Yeah, and exactly. It gets easier and easier and easier and easier.
Yeah,
and then
for sure.
You really you have your own proof. I've done this before. I've been in worse states and got through sessions.
Yeah, no.
Sometimes weirdly, you can be in the worst mental state before one of those sessions. And then like halfway through, you're like, fuck, I'm actually on today.
Yeah,
I don't know why, but I'm on.
Yeah. And you can flip it around. Yeah, well, you got to try and be, even if you're having a shit day warming up out the back, that you can flick the switch and go.
Yeah.
Like I could not have had a worse lead up week and warm up and everything. And even the walkout for Contender Series, like it was out of my whole fight career. And even before that, like rugby and stuff, I've never felt as bad going out to a fight or a game as I did for Contender Series. And it's just like, well, fuck, you've had bad training days. You just got to pull something out the fire here.
Yeah.
Leon Edwards. You got to pull something out the fire, son. Stop feeling sorry for yourself. Shit. So, you got a bit of press, Sam?
Yeah, I did get a little bit
of media
press.
attention.
Yeah, which wasn't really to do with me.
Yeah.
I think there was about 3 articles on me when none of them were to do with me. All of them got my age wrong, which is annoying.
Yeah.
All of them got the Hex Fight Series. They kept Hex Fight Series 25, Hex Fight Series 27, and it's like I won't name her, but I actually sent the person a message. I said, look, I appreciate you showing me the attention, even though it's not really about me.
Yeah.
But the little details count. Like you could get my age right.
Yeah,
you could at least call it Fight Series 26, which is what it is. So when people look it up, at least we're getting good exposure for the scene.
Did she reply?
She replied with this long, like, I really, I respect anyone that gets in the cage. And actually, I really do care about your story, blah, blah, blah. And then she goes, I messaged Jake. But what actually happened is she messaged Jacob to do a article on the Hex, claiming she was doing an article on Hex.
Yeah.
And then asked him a bunch of questions. I think like maybe 1 or 2 of them were about me.
Yeah.
And then she only took those 2 responses and made a big article. and then
that is gutter journalism. That is fucking gutter journalism.
And then she had
what the worst part was? Did you read the end part where it's like, you can tell he's a proud dad because he liked Sam's Instagram post about the fight. And it was like, yeah, I needed that to know that like dad was proud because he liked my Instagram post. That was like the evidence that they used to support the statement that dad was proud. It's like, what the fuck?
Oh,
So
man.
dumb.
And not only that, just like giving out my dad's schedule and all of this stuff.
Yeah,
It's just like, it was annoying. But
That's whack.
what can you do?
What do you do, hey?
It was pretty interesting. I think my dad was a little bit shook by the Hex crowd.
Oh my God.
And I kept telling him, I go, look, you sure you want to come? Like, you don't have to come. The crowd's pretty rough.
Well, like, yeah. I usually take my dad to the shows, mostly just because he likes watching the boys fight from the gym. And, you know, the boys from Hex were nice enough to give my dad tickets a couple of times. And he was in this little area and, you know, a couple of boys kicked off and things got like, it got real touch and go there for about 10 minutes where...
Was this the last? This was...
No, not the one just gone, the one before. Yeah. And, you know, my dad's 60. Like, he's got no time for anything like that. And he loves coming to the shows, but after that night, he saw sort of us running around and a bit of stuff going on, and we got in the car to drive home, and he goes, hey, I really appreciate the tickets, Jack, but I don't think I'm going to come to those events anymore. And I went, nah, that's absolutely fair enough, Dad. Like, just come to the UFC shows now. It's a bit easier.
To be fair, Hex is actually...
No,
Look, it's a scene, right? Like, you go there, it's definitely a scene. But I think shit kicking off sort of comes down to...
It's only a couple of bad people.
Yeah, a few
it's only
dickheads
a
from
couple
certain...
of bad people. But the thing is, that's not an indictment on Hex at all. It's fight shows.
Yeah,
it's fight shows. The crowds that it attracts and the people that are there, it only takes one or two things to go wrong, and the ability for that to cause serious damage is fucking huge because of the crews that are all there.
Yeah, you got a room of people who are down. You know,
yeah,
down
exactly.
But yeah.
But like even like last week, there was something small that kicked off again, and Hex dealt with it really well. They calmed it down. They, you know, avoided confrontation, getting physical with anyone, and you know they're doing a good job with what they can.
Just out of curiosity, and we're obviously not naming names, but was it the same instigators as?
Yeah.
It always fucking is.
always the same boys.
It's funny with obviously being a bit newer to the MMA scene, but you always see boxing shows are always, you got the who's who there, whether it's gangsters or whatever it is. At boxing show always. I feel with MMA shows you don't get that as much. I don't know what the difference
depends
is.
on the show. I think
Used to.
You think it's coming across now?
Oh, it is
a little
like
bit more?
it's combat sports, isn't it? It's one of those things where combat sports in every country, in every jurisdiction, has always been infiltrated by that kind of person.
Yeah.
It always has. Like the boxing, the mob ran the boxing in the US for how long? Like you know, here back in the days, the bikies used to run the kickboxing and boxing scenes and all that sort of stuff. So it's always been like that. It's kind of out of the shadows at that really top end now. Like there's no influence in world title stuff at the elite level, but there's still, I'm sure there's influence somewhere along the way down there. Because I think, you know, people love fighting, and especially, you know, people who are more involved in the more shadier businesses in the world love fighting too.
Love fighting and love making money.
Yeah, exactly.
But it is great to see that the scene is growing massively. Like, honestly, being on that card on Friday felt like such a level up from anything else I had competed on.
Yeah.
Even just being out the back, had my own locker, my name on it.
Yeah.
The mats out the back were spectacular.
100%.
Jacob was talking to me all week. He was fantastic. So it's good to see that the scene is thriving, and the newcomers coming through are all like talent.
The level is just gone through the roof. I like Josh used to come to the earlier Hex events when I was there fighting, and we went through this period where it was like there was like Hex 6, 7, 8. No, Hex 6, 7, 8 were like unreal shows, and it was very different crowd, but it was full. And it was the same sort of thing. You walk in, there was like decent mat space. There was at the weigh-ins, they'd be like, here, come try on your gloves, check in, here's the doctor. It was all super well organised. And then we hit this point and like the shows just like one show after another, it just dropped off and dropped off and dropped off. And I just remember thinking, fuck, I don't know if this is going the right way for me at the moment. and I ended up jumping ship, and then Hex kind of has gone through a resurgence recently. So it's back to its former glory, you could say.
Probably the last two.
The last two have been massive.
I don't remember a Hex before the last two. Like when was there a massive break after the?
I think they had a
lockdowns?
time break, but they used to run them all the time.
I do remember easy head kick and
that show, right? I fought on that show. Kai Kara France fought on that show. Stylebender, Jimmy Crute, and Cal Potter.
Jeez,
so it was it was fucking stacked, that card. And I remember like the crowd was huge and they were going off. And
did everyone know? Like, was it the Izzy show that night or?
Yeah, well, it's like kind of, but Jimmy was really big, especially locally, because he'd already defended his belt like 3 times, and he was only like 21.
Yeah.
Cal was a big local ticket seller, and everyone had a lot of respect for Cal. And he was fighting Jack Becker that night, which was a big fight because Jack was undefeated and coming over from Perth.
Who won that fight? I actually have no.
Cal Potter. Knocked him
out. That's the fight that got him in?
Nah, he took a fight in between then, and he lost to Marcin Held, and then he fought BJ Bland and won, and he got in off that one.
Okay.
But I remember being at that show, and you're always like, you'll get this now too, where you'll be you start and you're at the bottom of the card, and you look at the guys out the back who are at the top of the card, and like you're thinking about, oh fuck, that seems so far away that I'm going to have 8 or 9 fights as a pro, and I'm going to be out the back last, like fighting for titles or fighting as the co-main event. And you're like, I can't wait till I'm that guy.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it goes so quick, and then you're the guy who's waiting out the back, and you're the main event, and you're fighting for a belt, and you're like, I don't want to be this guy anymore. I want to win this fight, and then I want to get my shot in the UFC. And then it's just the cycle repeats again. You're on the bottom of the card at the UFC, and you're at the back looking at like Volk in Islam, or whoever it might be who's fighting at the top of the card, and you go, I can't wait for my chance to get out there. And it's just like that cycle will never stop of the guys coming in and starting at the bottom. And you look around and you're like, there's all the guys who are at the bottom. There's everyone who's 0 to 3 fights, and it's like, who of us is going to be here when it comes to time to go to the UFC? Who's going to be left? And if you just got to make that you.
Yeah, I feel even like I remember having one fight thinking, fuck, man, can't even imagine having a fight. And then you have the fight, and then you're like, okay, well shit, I've only got one now. I need to get a few more. Now I've had like 10 or so, and I still feel like I've had no fights.
Yeah,
still feel like
it's always that next. Yeah, that next. Like for me especially, it's like because I haven't had a pro fight. When someone asks, "Have you fought?" It's like, oh yeah, I've had 10 fights now.
Yeah, with Shimpa.
And exactly. And then they're like, oh, are you pro at AMI? And it's like, oh, I'm AMI. And they're
so
like,
you've done some hard
sparring. So you've you've sparred hard. I'm like, fuck.
couple of interclubs.
Yeah. Nothing. You just always feel like the next step.
Yeah, 100%. You always want more. That's why I think it's hard. So many guys struggle. It's all athletes, right? But especially fighters struggle with retirement, because you go from like this like super high intensity, high stress, but also high reward environment, and then it just like gets taken away, and then you eat shit and you don't fucking struggle to motivate. Like, why do you keep in shape? If I don't have to make weight, what the fuck am I staying in shape for?
Yeah. And what's your goal? Like, you're chasing something every day.
Yeah.
So say, I'll come in and do an hour of mobility because that's going to help me towards my goal. But then you retire and it's like, fuck.
Yeah. So what's next for you boys? Anything planned?
I'm thinking I want to fight again in August if I can get on that next Hex card.
Yep.
And potentially, I know we were speaking about this at lunch yesterday, and everyone thinks it's not a great idea, but I would also love to. I'd love to have a pro boxing fight.
Yeah, mainly that's a super good idea.
Mainly just because I actually I'd love the boxing. I'm obviously I do a lot of the boxing coaching here, so I think it would be nice to go out there, prove myself on the scene.
Obviously, it's completely circumstantial. I think if you're gonna go into a sport that's not MMA and try. It's got to be the right matchup with the right timing at the right weight for the right money.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Provided that you get all those things, then that's all right. But I just wouldn't make that part of your goal. It should be like, let someone know, hey, I'm looking for a fight. If it comes up around this time, let me know, and I'll have a think about it. But I wouldn't change any of your training to suit that goal.
No, and I wouldn't have done that anyway. Even when I had my boxing fights last year, I made sure I was really still just training MMA. But then maybe the last week, 2 weeks, just change the pads, and the pads become all boxing. Yeah, but I do find, because I am, and likewise with Diellon, we're fairly new to this, so I do find that the experience of making that walk, being in a firefight, just every time you get a little bit more comfortable, you fight that voice in your head, and it can only result in growth. Yeah. Fine. At this stage, I can definitely imagine, come 31, 32, you've only got so many more hits you can take. So you have to be careful with each decision. But I still think I'm at that point where I can take a couple risks. Yeah, for sure. Here's a question for you both. Let's work in a perfect world where me and Joey both fight on the Sydney card, the UFC Sydney card.
We get an eternal.
Yeah, wait, here's the question. Do you boys rather fight and get it out of the way 3 weeks earlier on Hex?
Yeah.
And then you have like a couple of weeks and you come back to training. Raj is calling me. Do this on speaker, see what he says.
Yeah. Yo, G.
Yo, what up, cuz?
What up, G? What you doing?
No, nothing. I'm just on the podcast with the boys.
So, Raja.
Oh, shit. Oh, hit me up after.
Yeah.
Josh said he subbed you.
What did he say?
Josh said he subbed you the other day or today or something.
Kind of me a fucking free coffee now. So I subbed him in under a minute. And he said I couldn't, so he owes me coffee.
What did you catch him with?
Rear naked choke, son. Standing up.
It's not standing up, Ritz.
It was? Oh,
Fuck.
Simo would be happy with that.
I told him stop taking Cialis too.
Oh shit! All right, cuz, we'll catch you in a bit.
Yeah, hit me up. Give me a buzz when you're done.
Yeah, sweet. All right, catch you, cuz.
All right, catch you.
Bye.
3 weeks
yeah.
before.
So do you go 3 weeks before, get it out of the way, and then you can kind of enjoy the week in Sydney as like the team and the backup part of it, or do you go, fuck it, I want to be part of it. I want to be in the sauna. I want to be cutting the weight and there for the weekend to fight.
I think the safer option is the 3 weeks before.
Yeah.
Because it's just a bit less. There's a bit less to it, right?
Yeah.
But after experiencing what we had in Perth, that high of me and Sarmad winning and then you winning,
yeah,
it made that weekend one of the greatest weekends of my life. It was fucking unreal.
Yeah.
So to have the same in Sydney with Joe as well, and then the four of us, it'd be fucking
the one part. I feel like when you're cutting weight, there's like a camaraderie to being so fucking hungry and dehydrated all at the same time, where you're like, yep, this sucks, but fuck, we're in it together. Like even among the fighters at the hotel who aren't your teammates, you kind of walk around the hotel and you look at each other and you're like, fuck, he's getting skinny.
There's like a little nod of respect.
Yeah, we're here, we're doing this work. I don't know. Because I always, like an event like the UFC, it's great to go and like it would be good to go and go out for dinner in Sydney and whatever and help out with the training and that sort of stuff. But I would always choose, I don't care if it's not the UFC, I'll fight on the Eternal the night before and be part of it rather than fight earlier.
Nah, I'm going the 3 weeks before.
Going the 3 weeks?
100%.
Yeah.
Because still to this day, one time I'm cutting weight and I'm telling you Joe ate 12,000 calories in front of me. 12,000 calories. By the way, we went to he was dragging me.
Joe would be fighting the next day, so he would be cutting weight with you.
Yeah, but
He
I
also
want to
talks
be
a joke.
I want to be the guy eating the 12,000 calories.
Oh yeah, you want
in front
revenge.
of Joe while he's in
revenge.
that bath.
I actually get.
I'm not even kidding, dude. One time I'm cutting weight. He goes, "You want to go for a walk? Because we'll start in an hour." I go, "Okay, we'll go for a walk. I'm drained." And then we literally went bar hopping, but instead of that, we went cafe hopping. And he would get a cherry pie at this place. He'd get a vanilla. I go, I didn't know you liked vanilla slice. He goes, I don't. Just start eating. just eating anything he could. So
Joe had one of the most dramatic changes in body composition I've ever seen after
Gold Coast.
He fought on the Gold Coast that day.
Tristan Murphy fight.
Not how big he got for the fight, because he got big for the fight, but how he came back like probably 10 days after into the gym. The shape of his face had completely changed.
he looked like a potato.
Like he did. Like it was a completely different face. And I was sort of looking at the one part where it came where I thought, okay, this guy's taking this fucking serious, was we went out for dinner at Fonda after training, and we'd both fought, and I was a little bit thicker, but like probably only slightly noticeable. And we're at dinner, and he gets 2 burritos and chips. No, a burrito, a quesadilla, and chips. And the burrito comes out, and I'm watching him pick out every single piece of lettuce before he would buy.
That's rabbit food.
He would pick the lettuce out, and I'd be like, "Don't you like the lettuce or something, mate?" And he goes, "No, it's all right." I'm like, "Why are you taking it out?" He's like, "Why am I wasting room in my stomach with lettuce?" I was just like, "What the fuck, Joey?"
I think he genuinely got caught in this game of how much can I fuck myself.
Yeah.
Weight-wise, because he just didn't stop. I don't know when he...
The beauty of him is he's the least self-conscious person on the planet. So there's
Doesn't
no
fuck.
fear about the gut growing out.
No.
I want to see him post-retirement. That's what
It'd be a big
He's gonna be
Italian.
a-
It'd be a big Italian nonno.
That man can fucking eat.
Yeah.
Like, we can eat, but he can put some stuff away.
Yeah. He's fucking in incredible shape since he pretty much moved to Thailand.
Yeah.
It's good that he's come to visit us here in Melbourne.
Yeah, he's come for a holiday.
It's good that he came visit us for our fights.
Man, it's good seeing him here on a holiday, really.
Yeah, it is. It's nice.
Nah, he's in phenomenal shape. I mean, he's always, other than those 2 weeks really where he got big after the fight, he's always in sensational shape.
I think he's walking around a couple of kilos leaner than he has.
Yeah.
Before that,
I reckon
though.
he's probably about, should I be saying it on here, or he's probably about 88, 90 kilos, which is good size for him.
Yeah, I reckon. And he's not in camp.
It's harder when he's a bit lighter. Because when he's a bit heavier, or if he gets on top, it's like, fuck. But when he's a bit lighter, he's just fucking a bit more switched on. He's fast.
I've watched him beat the fuck out of you two that many times.
Oh my God.
And just thought, fuck, that must suck.
So much fun. Oh.
And then people wonder why we spar hard. You know what I mean?
It's like,
It's a top-down approach.
yeah.
I got a great story for the. I'm sure you've heard this, but for all the absolute members here
I
about
don't think
Diellon
this has been said on here.
in the corner. So
My first day ever sparring. I was like 3 months jiu-jitsu.
look, I swear you did
I
some
just-
shoulder taps before.
I just met them. I just met Sam, just met Joe, just met Ed.
Yeah.
Just to set the scene.
Yeah.
And let me say, Joe's actually settled down a lot. Like he's actually quite a nice spar now, to his credit. So Ed chucks Diellon in with Joe, right? And this was the first time he'd been with Joe. I'm sparring with Corey, but I'm having one of those sparring sessions with Corey where it's like we're both watching what's going on and we're kind of just like pretending to spar. And I just remember Joe throwing this in the corner of the cage, throwing this 1-2. Diellon falls back on the right hand like he's about to get dropped. Joe rips into the body, lands so clean, and then comes over the top with a leg chop as Diellon's halfway down. And then Dylan's in the corner of the cage like this. His eyes are like...
It was like the first leg kick I've ever... So the punches were fucking horrible. But do you remember before your legs, like your eyes were fucking conditioned to a leg? It was the first leg kick I've ever copped.
Yeah.
And it was off a left rip. Head offline, body into it, coming over the top. It was fucking
Just
horrible.
fucking
It was
tearing you up.
fucking horrible.
And Ed just goes, Diellon out, Corey in. Joe's facial
enough.
expression doesn't
You
change.
fucking shit.
Fuck, yeah, that was my christening into the...
But you paid your way here. You really did.
I don't think anyone has paid in brain cells more than I have.
Oh,
And you still
I would
kinda
disagree.
coherent.
I've seen a lot of people get a lot of beatings.
Or to be fair.
They can probably
where
give
you
it back,
started
though.
out.
Huh?
They could probably give it back at that stage.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll give you an example. When we first started training here in the cage, the Monday, Wednesday morning crew,
Yeah.
they're obviously like, we didn't have a heap of different weight classes. The Monday morning crew was Daniel Kelly, Jake Matthews, Cal Potter, Jimmy Crute, and Gustavo Falsaroli.
I've heard some stories.
Right? So and me a lot of the time. And those boys would beat the fuck out of me. The bigger boys would obviously take care of me a little bit, but fuck, I used to get the shit kicked out of me. It was like every day was like, how many times can I not get finished? It was like that was the goal. It was like, come in and see if I can get subbed only 3 times in this round, that's a win. Yeah. That's a win this round. And then 6 months later, it's like, all right, I'm only trying to get subbed 2 times. If you get subbed less than 2 times, that's a win. And then you just fucking go from there.
Keep coming.
And do you think, like, how important, because even though making jokes about Joey, without Joey, I know neither of us would be here. Yeah. But how important do you think it was to yourself to have that stage where you were the nail time and time and time
100%.
again?
100%. You got to learn not to quit there. You got to learn that, like, I know I would get underneath Cal or even Jimmy or someone, and I fucking know there's like no chance I'm getting out of this, but I have to try and not stop trying until I fucking get done. Yeah. And then eventually you get to a point where you try hard enough and you do get out and you're like, holy fuck, I'm there. I can have a go now. But those boys were like all really important, particularly Cal Potter for me. Like Cal would take time after class to show me stuff and help out, and we've still got a good relationship now. Like he was huge for me. He introduced me to Andy, my striking coach now. So Cal, I think probably similar to Joey was for you guys in that early part of my career. Cal was the guy who I would ask questions of, who would help me most with whatever was going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can't. You need that. You need someone like that kind of mentor role to take you where you're going. And there's a lot of unwritten rules in this process that if you don't have someone there showing you, I imagine it's almost impossible to get to this level.
Fucking hard as.
I mean, I reckon some of the most nervous I've ever been is before sparring. Some of those sparring sessions, early days. Like, I'd be sitting in my car, shitting bricks, being like, oh. And I'd actually drive to sparring, and I'd be like, I'm not going to spar, but I'll just drive there and see what happens. You know what I mean? Like, I'll just drive there, and if I get to the car park and I don't want to go in, I'll just drive home. And then I'll get to the car park, and I'll be like, oh, fuck, all right. Just walk in the door. And if things go bad, you can just leave. And then by the time you walk through that door, Ed's yelling at you, Joe's fucking staring at you across in the room, and you're like, okay, here we go.
I've 100% been more nervous for some sparring sessions than fights. It's a different nervous, but for fights, you're like, I know what I copy in that training room, and I know the guys I'm training with. Obviously, as you get to a higher level, it probably changes because now you're going up against the top guys in the world, right? But especially like as an amateur coming through, it's like, I got Sammy and Joey on my ass every Friday night. Like, what's this guy in front of me going to do that they haven't done already?
What about Salman?
But
and Sam.
I reckon the reason
I have absolutely no angst or nervousness for my rounds with Samad. If you want to roll the clips, Josh.
Samad, the least athletic body I've ever seen.
He's getting
a lot out of it.
I'm going to be 100% honest. Samad's more athletic than you guys think.
No. I didn't say he wasn't athletic. Least athletic body I've ever seen.
I also took
Doesn't look athletic.
I took a note out of your book. Watching you warm up in Gold Coast for your Medina fight when you and Joey fought on the same night. I think Sammy and I both noticed a few things, and you got Benny, and you got him as your little dummy for your sparring. Yeah. This was the first fight night. I was like, Samad, come here. Yeah. And just beat the fuck out of him, and he can't hit me back because I'm before a fight. It's fantastic. Yeah. It's the best thing ever. Just beat the fuck out of him, and he can't throw anything back, really.
Well, this is actually such a cool story. I learned, so I went to Ireland with Dan Kelly and my striking coach, Andy, when Dan was fighting at UFC Liverpool. It was supposed to be UFC Dublin, so we booked tickets to Dublin, and then they moved it to Liverpool. So we ended up still going to Dublin for 2 weeks, though. And the way they do their sparring there is there's no sparring session. They have a whiteboard, and at the start of a week, Coach Kavanagh and the other coaches write on the board the days and times they're available for you to spar. And so let's say it's Thursday at 12:30. You just write your name and the person you're sparring's name, and then you show up. However you want to get ready is up to you. Coach Kavanagh will be in the middle, like he's going to ref it. Yep. And then you spar, and he'll watch, and he'll give you feedback in between rounds, right? And one of the things that he instills in those guys, obviously it was obviously it was right at the time Connor was as big as he
At his
gets. So
peak,
the gym was huge, and they had so many people going through there. John Kavanagh encouraged his guys 2 things. When people come through, learn from them as much as you can. And if they bring people with them that you spar, fucking get them and get them on the board.
Yeah.
So I went in and I did like a couple of kickboxing sessions. And there was like 3 guys after the lesson came up and like, hey, mate, reckon we could jump on the board and have a spar? You free Friday? You free Saturday? You free this day? Whatever. And I'm like, oh, fuck yeah, whatever. So there's this guy named Franz Mlambo, and he's a fucking incredibly good boxer, and he's in Bellator now. And he's like, do you want to have a spar, brother? And I was like, yeah, 100%. So we lined up to spar, and we went in, and Andy was cornering me, and we had the sparring session. And the first round, I just got fucking pieced up. Like, his boxing was so good, I was kind of shell-shocked, and I just got pieced up. And then the second round, he kept getting his jab. Towards the end of the second round, I got a takedown, got on top, got some work off. And then when we got up, I felt good again. And then I probably won the third round. And after the sparring, John Kavanagh comes up to me and he goes, oh, well, you know what you need, don't you, now? And I'm like, what? And he's like, before every fight, you have to do 2 rounds of sparring.
Yeah.
Because you come good in the third round. And I was like, and I was on a 2-fight losing streak when I'd gone over there. And I went, fuck, you know what? That's actually pretty smart. I do get better after I've done some rounds. And then since then, every fight I do at least 2 rounds of sparring out the back and make sure that I get shots off and make sure I get hit a little bit and get used to seeing the shots coming. Instead of doing like a traditional warm-up, I do like sparring warm-up. And since then, I've gone, 10 in a row.
You weren't getting hit much that night on the Gold. Let me tell you. Benny was copping some shots. Honestly, that was one of the best warm-ups I've seen. There was some pure magic in that warm-up. And then to watch you go and perform like that was like... You must have just had it that night, really. Like, did you feel like we were speaking about this? Diellon, in a lot of his fights, says he's in that flow state where there's not even really, you're not thinking.
You're just kind of.
It looked like that night you were in a flow state.
100%. I've probably been there a couple of times. Definitely against Rod, against Jesse. There a lot of fights where you just fucking feel on.
Yeah.
Even my last 2, I probably wasn't quite there. I've still got a lot of scope to improve on both of those in performances. So hopefully in this next one, get back there and do another fucking just mint job.
I think that Rod fight was, from the outside, it looked like you were in the flow state at its highest.
Yeah.
Just the way that whole...
Yeah, I couldn't miss.
Like over 5 rounds as well, like genuinely speaking, that was... You weren't thinking, oh, now it looked like it was just happening for you.
Yeah.
Or maybe Rod just wasn't up to the level.
Maybe. I thought from the start though that I was better than the level was around me.
Yeah,
it was and that I think that's. I said after that fight, I said people say like, fuck, I might get to the UFC, but I won't go far or whatever. Fucking watch me and find out, because I've thought that the whole time that I was above that level, and that was the night I got to show it.
And how do you feel about the opponent coming up? How do you feel about his level? Is this going to be your toughest test?
He's beaten really good guys. Like, he's beaten really, really good guys. And he's got that kind of enigma about him where no one expects much of him and he always performs well.
Yeah. Okay.
Which is dangerous in a way. It's probably not too dissimilar to the first time I fought Jesse, where like kind of goes under the radar, his skill set a little bit, like not flashy or anything like that, but does things really, really well that work well for him. So I think I've got the tools necessary to take him out wherever, like standing, wrestling, and in the jiu-jitsu. And I'm definitely going to be able to change the range from what he's going to want, and I can fight it at the range that I'm going to be able to pick him off. But the one thing that'll be different from this fight to my last 2 fights you've probably seen is like this fight I'm going in there with the intention of getting a standing finish.
Yeah,
like I want to get a knockout shot.
Yeah.
Which is different to what like last ones have been. Stay smart, don't get caught in this, don't get caught in that, or whatever. This one, it's like the hands are going to get let go, the feet are going to get let go a little bit more, and it's I'm going to be looking to get a finish.
Okay, good.
That's sick.
Looking forward to that.
Fucking unreal.
That'll about do us, boys. What are we at about an hour? That'll be good.
Beautiful.
All right.
Love it. Thank
Sweet
you,
lads,
Jenko.
thank you.
Unreal.
My pleasure.